Hey, welcome to From the Baseline with Premier Basketball. I'm Mark Williams, Global Scout, and I'm joined by Shane Laflin and Jason Key. We're coming off a great weekend at the Prime event. We hosted this past weekend at FieldhouseUSA in Mansfield, and big shout out to all the teams that came through from all over the country, the evaluators, the media. Big shout out to everybody there who came through and supported the event. But let's recap the event overall, and then we'll talk a little bit of players. So, Shane, what did you think just from the event? I know it was a lot of work this year, a lot of stuff kind of going on. The bracket got made a couple times, but what were your thoughts overall post-event?
I mean, once it gets tipped, it's always a lot of fun. Being in the gym, having the conversations, sitting on the baselines with people because it's not restricted. Anybody can come over there and sit when the college coaches aren't there and stuff, and just watching players from across the country with people from across the country. Coaches get together, talk. Some of it's humorous, some of it's serious, some of it's just talking shop, talking basketball, talking experience. So that's always a really fun element of it. People come in, practice the day before. You can see that their preparation matters to them. And then, once it gets tipped, nobody wants to lose. I saw some disappointed people in, the ones that lost. And I saw, a lot of close games. You'd look up across those scoreboards and we're dancing between, trying to flash numbers to each other to let us know, like, all right, we want to see the ends of these close games, but you got 3 or 4 close games going on at a time. So the games were good. The vibe was great. The fellowship, the basketball connection was great. And it made the drama and curveballs, I guess, a little bit worth it once we're there. But, that was an interesting part this year.
Absolutely. Well, and one thing that we talk about a lot and we preach is that matchups matter. And they do. And, we had some upsets. We had some opportunities. Some teams took advantage of it. But Jason, how did matchups matter this weekend and what did we see there?
Oh, across the board. There was a lot of players that I hadn't personally got real close eyes on. A lot of that had just been filmed and hadn't seen all the way. The Sports City kids, some of the FBC kids, that sort of thing. And then it was interesting too, in that you walked in and you didn't know, like the Sports City, I doubt had seen the New Mexico Clippers, right? And New Mexico Clippers shot the leather off the ball, refused to miss type thing. They're really feisty. We had seen that all through the season. And Sports City fought. Like, it wasn't where Sports City wasn't playing hard or whatever. The Clippers simply wouldn't miss. I mean, they had to shoot 60% plus in that game. So you saw that all throughout the tournament. Is just styles make fights. And the whole premise of the Prime is finding matchups across the country from a club perspective, a team perspective, teams that can't find each other during the circuit because of circuit play or non-circuit play, whatever the case may be. So that it definitely served its purpose in that manner. And there was a lot of kids that stepped up to the plate. So individually, we're going to go through players, but just team-wise, it created matchups that there's no other time in a lot of these scenarios that these teams would play each other. It's just, I don't know when that would be. And so,
and certainly not with the lead time of preparation,
right?
You know what I mean? Like that's part of the timing is to, despite curveballs and drama, they at least know who's participating. We try to get them their individual matchups for their bracket, forecast as early as we can. But it's one thing when you play a team at 10, you play a game at 4, changing gears for your preparation. But this kind of gives you an element of that next level prep. And then, as Jason mentioned, a team coming in that plays differently than maybe some of your opponents. And you have time to kind of lock in on them versus, traveling from event to event, whether it's July or whatever it is that you're doing, or familiarity because you're in the same circuit as them. So it kind of works both ways.
Right.
Wholeheartedly. And shout out the New Mexico Clippers. I mean, they got an opportunity and took advantage of it against, one of the best organizations and teams in the country. And, they shot the lights out, and it's a bunch of guards, and they've got 2 physical forwards and that rebound and play defense, but everybody can shoot. And it was really an entertaining game.
Yeah, it was. Their patience, and they just shared the ball. But the thing is about them, they were prepared to do that because no matter what opponent they played all year long, that's how they played.
Absolutely.
And you don't always shoot it that well, but they just didn't turn the ball over. And Sports City wants to pressure, and they're like, okay, we counter pressure, with our actions and sharing the ball. So that's why playing the game and styles and team play matters. And it's, as Jason alluded to, it's what this is created for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, and shout out to Kathy and Shell and Convina and all of our staff once again, doing all the groundwork during the event, and the gate and all the table workers, and y'all are all a huge part of the success of the event. And so we want to make sure and give them a huge shout out. And so, hey, we're going to take a quick break, check out some highlights here from the Prime event from this weekend. And when we come back, we're going to talk players. So we'll be back after this.
I think you only love me cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's robbing. Tasting with the fade, not the air, my hands rockin'. When I link with ball point, you know it's knockin'. I'm not the same. Thinking money made me change, nothing else to blame. Bougie stuck up in my way, singing Gucci gang. Gucci gang, think I'm Gucci Mane. I'm just playing in the cut, I got my Vans on. I'm not selfish, I get on and put my mans on. Always greedy since the day I got my first 8. 5'7", but I'm 6'8" when I stand on the money pals. Need a money counter, I broke my thumb from thumbing down. Wifey on my line, she told me to dumb it down. Mama on my line, asking how I'm dumbing now. I think you only love me cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's driving. Tasting with the fade, not the air, my hands rockin'. When I link with ball point, you know it's not. Get out my way. I'm so unashamed. Throw it to my veins. Like my 2K green or blue. I'm not into games. Focus on your player's face while I'm stacking change. We throw out what you got on your whole crew late. Every time I drop it, knock you make the school face. I can't stand to be around people who are too fake. I can't stand to do some business if you're too.
Hey, welcome back to From the Baseline. Hope you enjoyed those highlights there from the Prime event. So let's give a shout out to the winners, each team that won their bracket at the Prime event. And so congratulations to them. First, congratulations goes to Team Lex. They won the Prime bracket. Wisconsin Flights, 16U won the Premier bracket. Sports City U Green won the Project and Perfect bracket. And then Team Kids 17U won the Selects bracket. And Texas True Hoops Crabtree 2023 won the 3-step bracket. So shout out to all the winners and their outstanding play from the weekend. And so want to make sure and give them a shout out before we get into players. So, but let's start with you, Jason. Outstanding players from this weekend that jumped out to you.
Yeah, first of all, shout out to Joey for winning the championship. Going into this thing, I didn't think they had a very good chance at that. And he found a way, as he tends to do.
He does.
So we'll have a full off season of hearing about it, and that'll be exciting for all of us. Speaking of Joey's team, I thought Samaya Smith was impressive. She hit a lot of threes leading up to that championship game. Her and Michelle Gatewood, I thought gave him some experience that he had been lacking, obviously being an all 23 playing the 17U level throughout the season.
In the context of missing Tristan and Kylie.
Right.
So
right.
like that, and then McKenna didn't get there till, and JB, they're missing Bristow too. So a nice supplementation to his roster. And
for sure. Yeah, and you get the experience helped them in this case, I thought. And shout out to Savannah Catalan and Jersey Bryant specifically, who had really good championship games. Big shots by Jersey there in the championship game. Jordan, SFA got one in Jordan Harrison.
Woo.
Yeah, they did.
Woo! She, in the conversation is one of the better guards, I thought, for the weekend.
Oh,
And
sure.
she's just nonstop, just stays in your feet the whole time, attacks you downhill, hits shots. I mean, just a flat baller. So I thought she had a really good weekend. On that front in the 23 class, Savia Sellers, who I've been goo eyes over all summer, and she continued that for me. She just has it all. Same kind of thing. She makes plays. She defends you 94 feet. She hits shots when it's needed. On and on it goes. So just fun to watch. I thought the New Mexico Clippers, I think New Mexico they're obviously skilled, but Jalen Bates and Natalie Chavez, both going to New Mexico there, hit shots throughout the weekend, particularly in that upset win over Sports City. Isabella Hines, she had kind of flew under my radar. But as a 25 playing up, you catch her.
She had actually played on their younger team. And so you probably hadn't seen them much.
Right.
And she got the opportunity to play with them because Milani wasn't able, another player that's played all summer with them wasn't available. And Hines took advantage of the opportunity, that's for sure.
Oh, she was like the perfect role player for them. And then like you didn't miss a beat in terms of like that role being kind of a, look, we need you to fill this hole, we need you to fill that hole, we need you to be tough.
Oh, absolutely.
And like if you didn't know in front of us that she was a 25, that wouldn't have been my guess. For sure.
I live in New Mexico. I mean, Jason with LBI Wilkins was like, "Hey, Mark, who's this kid?" And I looked up, I'm like, "I don't know who this kid is." And so I had to go see. But I mean, how about that? A 25 playing up, your first game is against Sports City U, and everybody thinks you're an upperclassman.
Yeah.
She played really, really well.
Speaking of Sports City U, Cody McMahon, one of the better pure athletes in the class. Ohio State commit. Just strong. I mean, just strong like bull. That's all I could think about when she played. And she plays that way. She plays to her strengths.
Right.
As she continues to add perimeter shooting, she's got a chance to really blossom at the next level because she's
a left hand. That will help. I mean, it's hard to keep her from going right, but like you can sit on it a little bit. But she's so explosive and strong. It's still kind of tough, but man, once it kind of gets comfortable using the other side of the floor, that's going to help. Yeah. And then the shooting, I think it's not broken.
Right.
It can come, but those are two things that when we're not talking major dynamic things to add, it's just some time and some focus on some very specific things. I believe it can happen. It's got to be important to her, but it can happen.
Absolutely.
Speaking of shooting, Ali Ziebel, Wisconsin Flight 2024.
Automatic.
It's Wisconsin Flight 1. She got cooking in that championship game against Jason Kidd. Maybe the best shooter in the gym and a gym full of shooters. In the conversation, we can debate that kind of thing, but you want to talk about somebody that I couldn't get my eyes off of. Every time she had a shot to make, and it was a big shot, momentum-wise and needed and all that thing, it doesn't hit the rim.
Yeah, it's nice. She hit back-to-back threes in the championship game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Britt got a great shot right after she hit, I think, her third one of their bench. It was really good.
Nick looks at me and I said, is this perfect, Bill? I mean, what is going on here? Like, the thing wouldn't hit the rim. So,
you know who she shoots like? The Hand sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it looks like when
it's going in every time.
Rebecca shot the ball and you're like, well, write it down in the book.
On that same squad, 2024, Taylor Strimlow, a lot of timely shots throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
Was evil. On that Jason Kidd team, maybe my in the conversation of my biggest stock riser personally, Harper Peterson. I've really liked her throughout, but she's taking major steps.
Mhm.
And she is going to be very, very good. In that 6'3" range right now, and we'll see if she gets any more height out of that, and the skill just keeps developing, and the strength keeps developing, the strength and coordination. You just see cinder blocks, right? Just piece by piece by piece of her game developing. And
you don't often see the big forwards or the long forwards. I don't want to call her a big. She's definitely a forward. That once they have the ability to stretch you, you can see that they haven't worked on back to the basket stuff really, because they're really uncomfortable. That's not her.
Yeah.
She's comfortable back to the basket. She stretches you. She made great decisions in the middle of the press. She can put on the deck and facilitates. It's a really, really good combo. And I mean, when you're talking, you live in Pac-12 country, she fits everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
She was my favorite part about her game this weekend was her decision making in the press break. To his point, she was diamond. She would turn, no dribble a lot of time if not needed, and diamond. And then if you played off of you, she would go create. And then if she caught in an area she could score, she made the shot. I mean, just efficiency personified. Yeah. So same team, Jordan Lee, 24, also a Jason Kidd kid. The length and the skill. I think she's going to be a very good two-way player too. Very good and long defensively. Really good instincts. Uses space well defensively, where she can get to your shot and contest with her length, because she stays that step off and uses her arms to her arm length to her advantage.
Plays in a stance, which a lot of young players don't do. She's in a reactive stance, and then her hands aren't in her pockets. So technique-wise, she's giving herself the best chance to be successful. It's habits. It's really good habits.
Well, and you saw her confidence grow throughout the summer, where she understands, hey, I'm the alpha guard on this team, and not a lead guard, but an alpha as far as offense is going to run through me, and I can create a basket, whether it's me or somebody else, for our team. And you just saw her grow into that role over the summer, which was impressive.
A find of the tournament for me that I hadn't seen before. 2024 Taylor Barner, FBC Carolina. Really good. Crafty with the ball, made shots, created. She could play on the ball, off the ball, anything they needed. So I really liked her versatility. She's not one that has to have the ball. She can play off of screen actions and catch and shoot situations and all that. And so
She definitely has range. She's rangy.
Yeah. Or she can handle the ball and kind of play that point guard spot for you. She's very versatile. Very high level game, I thought.
She and Kate Sears are really complimentary, just hoopers. They're not both combo kids, but they can play on the ball, can play off the ball. They're guards.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really, really good complementaries to each other.
Blanca Thomas. This was my first time seeing her live. So really like the mobility. Really good hands, really good feet. That's the first thing you watch for in bigs. And I want her to bury people a little bit more, but I think that'll come, obviously. I mean, as a 24, you see that a lot. But both hands, both shoulders, I mean, everything's right. Faced up, the touch was soft. She has all the elements of being one of the very best players in the country in that 24 class.
She goes to the glass versus just letting the ball come to her, which a lot of bigs, especially young bigs, will do. And she's good at sealing. Like you said, Jay, she could probably impart her physicality a little bit more, but she's got a good, strong base. But once she's got you on a hip, she holds her position, which a lot of people don't realize kind of how to do as young. So she did a good job. I was able to talk with her and her mom a little bit, and you can just tell in conversations when people are attentive and are part of the conversation versus just the receiver or just the talker. She's thought about these processes, these things. What do I want to do next to be better? Where do I want to go to get challenged? I was pretty impressed.
I was too. Good. I mean, again, that on the highest of levels, there's nothing stopping her from reaching as far as she wants to go. Yeah. So Mac Irvin Fire, Taj Bloom. I hadn't seen a lot of. I'd seen film. I hadn't seen a lot of live. Liked it. Face-up game. Nice soft touch. I hit a couple of threes for me. At 6'3", she's going to be a really difficult matchup kid, long term. And as she gains strength, there's her base got to get a little stronger, I think. But as she gains that, she's a real matchup issue. It just what do you do with her as far as do you get in her feet and play a little smaller where she can go over you, or do you go bigger and she can kind of create off the bounce? And she's going to be a difficult cover. And I also like Skylar Jones, who's a 23 on that same team. 6 foot, 6'1". Yeah.
Motor.
Yeah, made exactly. Rebound, kind of Swiss Army knife, did whatever needed to be done, guarded whoever needed to be guarded.
Right.
Rebounded the ball, could handle it out of jail kind of thing to get it to the guards. And so good. Over at Kenny at Florida, FGB, Florida Girls Basketball, 24, Lexi Blue. Big guard type, big perimeter player type. A solid 6'1", maybe 6'2". Good perimeter shot, can handle to create, especially to the mid-range. Really got to the mid-range spots quite a few times. Made some shots. So I've liked her. I've seen her quite a few times at various camps and all that kind of thing. So, but continuing to develop. I thought Sanaya Douglas for Sports City U, who won the Project and Perfect bracket. She carried. She was the major cog in that wheel, in my opinion, and just a constant attack of the rim, made shots, and they were dominant. I mean, that Sports City Young group came on a mission, and they had one game in single digits against FBC Carolina. Everybody else they beat by double digits, and I mean they were really good.
Well put together team, and
they had
do.
A lot of good complementary pieces.
They have a commitment to the defensive end, and then there wasn't a lot of me basketball. It moved to take a good shot. They know who the shot makers are, and they know who the rebounders are. They know who the athletes are. It's just a well put together team. I think people think Sports City U and they think because of their recent history or their history, you've got All-American candidates and things. This team is maybe a little understated in terms of that aspect.
Yeah.
But they play really well together, and they're like 7 or 8, 9 deep.
Right.
And they kind of don't miss a beat. And they were just really connected, which is impressive for such a young group. And then also Sports City U really hadn't done a second or younger team previous to this that I can remember. So, good job.
You could tell Bryce had fun with the interchangeable piece, because it pushes you as a coach, right? What pieces do I put on the floor when, and using different matchups and that kind of thing. And Bryce is a thinker in that way, he's a preparer. So I thought you could tell that there's a piece of him that really likes coaching that team just because of the interchangeable pieces, that kind of thing. The Pro Skills young crew, I know them obviously pretty well being local, but Kaylin Kemp was outstanding. Camille Williams, I'm very high on, big wing. And then Amari Biles, who's already become a known name as a 26 here locally. Big 6'1", 6'2" athlete as a 26. All right. So Pro Skills had a really good showing, marched to the championship game. Rooks was looking for film late Friday night. I mean, he was trying to win this thing. Anything he could do to scout. So good stuff. Good. It's good for the local teams when we get on the local teams that comes. Good that they represent well in these things, because we had teams from everywhere. We want to shout out Callie Cruz, 7'3" team kid, 17U, 7 threes in a game. So I mean, cooking. They won the championship in that select bracket. And then True Texas Hoops Crabtree, Tori Servier, who's been coming on, 6'4" kid under the radar that not a lot know about, that's developed and developed and developed. Kim Crabtree can absolutely coach. And You see her developing that program. It's in the infancy stages. She's got a lot of young teams. They're going to be very good. And I mean, they're very solid fundamentally. Me and Shane watched a practice early this year with Kim, and it was outstanding. I mean, some of her drills, her shooting drills and such, just outstanding. Ashton Crabtree, who's Kim Crabtree's daughter, shot the lights out for that championship team. And then the Lady Jets band. I know Zaya 2024 Zaya band's a Shane favorite. Just puts the ball in the hole.
Mark and I were talking about she scores in bunches and can just put the ball in a basket.
Yeah. And so interesting, right? That she's a guard, 5'8" or so. And then Talia Van, her little sister, is already, I don't know, 6 foot maybe. So
Yeah, not little.
Yeah, 6 foot, 6'1", but big fundamental. You can see it coming.
Oh, absolutely.
Step by step by step. Like she's really sound. She can shoot the ball. She knows how to hard post up. You can tell she's been worked with a lot by their dad who played at Oklahoma. And this is his fourth daughter. She'll be his fourth daughter. That's going to be, all of them will have played college basketball by the time they're done. I mean, Brian Van knows what he's doing. And then you got the kids we knew. Array Young, I thought, made a statement for herself. One of the 22s that's still uncommitted out there, and really, really does it all for that team kid.
Absolute defensive stopper, energy, like utility glue, puts it on the deck, like just a basketball player. Like it's just, late in the season, I think, you hear some people say like, the motivation of the 22s or the whomevers, or it's late in the season. It's just like, man, if you're coming to something, you're coming to win, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to play, you play right. They should kind of be
ingrained in you.
Yeah. And so you hear this stuff or get asked about it, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't see anybody who wasn't there to play right. And then that's one that, she's still garnering some recruitment and some attention coming off the summer and even through this weekend, as we heard from people, that just, kind of embodies what this event is, which is, compete at the end, and it's not for everybody. Mm-hmm. I kind of like that separation in players like that. It says a lot about their maturity for the next level. And it's not like it should serve a purpose for people to play or do whatever. It should make sense for them to play, but it's not like a what's in it for me thing. It's like, I want to compete. And if I compete, I will learn and I will gain something from the experience. So she was like that. You mentioned Cody McMahon was like that. There's a lot of teams that just wanted to compete hard. And so they had to, because there's really no gimmies,
Right.
Yeah, and another Shane favorite on that same team, Amaya Bonner. I mean, Cal absolutely got one.
Yeah, and she's still growing, it seems like and has gotten healthy. That's a really good get, a local get for them, which is fantastic. She's good. I was disappointed that Tegan Brown couldn't play for Jason Kidd. I really like watching her play. So they did a great job year one, putting together a really good team. Spent some time with the parents, really good culture, and then had a chance to meet Jason Kidd and visit with him Saturday night and go see the facilities and stuff over there. Just his commitment to what they're doing is pretty impressive. Not normal. And then of course we had Jason Terry there, who just took a G League head coaching job, and while he's signing his contract, essentially, is texting me late one night looking for film on potential opponents and pool opponents for the Prime event. So it just tells you where his heart is. It's
and Jason Terry's doing this for years.
Yeah. But who the hell am I to, compliment Jason Terry? But I was just like, Jet, it just can't go understated what you do. You know?
And he's been in it for a long time, grinding and at it, and he's engaged in the games, and he's all the way trying to win this thing all the time. Everything he plays. Shea Bolin, want to give the Duke commit a shout out. played really well, shooting the ball. She's really going to help Duke early on. Her versatility, her ability to make shots.
It's good to see her healthy. I mean,
Yeah.
coming off the knee, and I thought it was the best I've seen her play in a while.
I would agree.
And just her healthy. I mean, I think I watched her J-Kid. She hit 3 in a row, banged 2 off the catch, and then she's like, shoot, I'll pull up in transition and banged it. And you just see she's healthy back and having fun, shots going in. And so she's going to be really good at Duke.
Yeah. The example sport 23s. I hadn't seen a lot of Jasmine Brown and Brianna Hill. Jasmine Brown, she gets to that mid range, man.
She can absolutely.
Yeah. Gets to the mid range, scores, dimes it off that. You know, if you overplay her shot, then she hits you one of her open teammates for an easy look most of the time. And then Brianna Hill, skilled and brings tempo. Just pushes pace, defends 94 feet at times, that kind of thing, just active. So
really good in the open court.
Yeah. I mean, flourishes in an open court style game for sure. Savannah Scott, before we leave, Savannah Scott's coming along. That's the Arkansas Mavs 2023 big. That post-up game gets better and better every time I see her, right? And so soft hands around, starting to use both blocks, rebounding the ball, being physical defensively. She's going to be a really good gift for somebody in that 23 class. And then Dariana Buggs, who had a huge summer.
Yep.
Mid-range assassin. Just gets to that pull-up, uses that length well and finishes. They do a really good job. Ed does a really good job, as we've talked about before for Mavs.
Yep. Shane, you got any players you want to add to that list, or?
I don't know. I think Jason read the list of every single player in the event.
Pretty close.
Just the FBC group that came together, Tyler Coley did a really good job of reaching out to a few who wanted to play, whose whole teams couldn't come. So like Olivia Anderson and MB Jones came from Washington. His little point guard, Ronnie Porter, like someone's going to
really
find
like
her.
Ronnie Porter.
Maybe, and it could be late. Little guard sometimes. It's just the way it goes. But the kid can play. And then Savannah White
was really good.
Is really good.
Yeah.
Like a really good get for Wisconsin, right?
No doubt.
So like,
no doubt.
So, you know, and then Tyler's just so passionate, man. He was like, I've got some kids that want to come. And then he had a couple of uncontrolled circumstances. It's certainly not anything that I was referring to earlier. It's just stuff happens.
Right.
But he was inclusive, and he's like, man, if people want to play, I'll welcome them. So, you know, he's the Minnesota group, but then the FBC, you know, Northwest group came through with them, and it was good to see them, and the fact that they wanted to keep playing was impressive to me. And then they got, you know, a good opening round win over Wisconsin Flight 17s, who kind of had to piecemeal a couple together as well. But you know, it's just fun to have good guys that are passionate in the gym. It's just another reason to kind of brag on those guys, and then it's kind of the environment it creates. You've got, you know, it wasn't like agenda filled, right? You kind of feel that at some events and stuff like that. Like people were there to connect, and that's a pretty cool field. You know, having the chance over the last couple of days to really think about that after it was a little much leading up to it, but it sinks in. So like, I really appreciate that. Like obviously our team is unbelievable and fantastic. But just like the people that came through and the vibe that they give off and all that, I'm just really thankful for that and grateful that we can do that. Cause like, that's the part of the stuff that we love, you know?
Absolutely.
No doubt. A couple shout outs before we leave too. The Banshees. Janiah Williams, Markayla Johnson, Tyler Jones. They got a really good young group.
Yeah.
They really pushed the pace. They almost scored. Did they score 100 in that final game?
Almost. It was like 90 in the high 90s to high 80s in that Elevate Elite game.
Yeah. And Elevate Elite and Banshees just back and forth. Everybody scoring. That was a lot of fun.
How about Brianna Hurd for
Brianna Hurd?
And they had told me, hey, we've got one coming. And I was like, oh. And then they always have good kids. But she plays hard. You talk about a motor, 6'2",
physical.
fun to watch her. Yes.
Yeah. The BTR kids who we saw a lot of, don't want to forget them, but Sanaya Richardson, who can flat score the basketball.
Range.
Yeah, really good small guard.
Kaya Smith. Kaya Smith, the other Kaya Smith.
Yeah, Kaya Smith, the versatile wing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's gonna be heavily recruited. So we appreciate everybody. Elevate Elite.
Heck yeah.
Lainey Grant just loves to hoop, and I really like that. And there was one of the Sports City U players, Kendall Braden. They just you can just I think everybody there loves to hoop, but these guys are like, this is who I am a little bit. It's just fun.
Oh yeah.
Just watching the way they carry themselves. But Lainey Grant's fun for me to watch.
I enjoy watching her. Kendall Braden shot the ball really well on Saturday. And she shot it well on Sunday, but Saturday she was unconscious. But it was fun to watch. First time I got to see Olivia McGee live, and I know she was hampered by her ankle, but I mean she fought through it and played, and so it was good to see her. She came with Elevate Elite, and so they brought them.
Sophia Vital was one of them. Another one. Sorry.
Yeah,
I don't want to forget
from Bay State.
Yeah, good, dynamic little guard, is proving herself. She's going to have some opportunities. Had a chance to visit with Lori about kind of what they're doing with her recruitment and stuff, but it was fun to watch her play this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Another kid, a local kid that I've seen a lot of, but it was just cool to watch her. She was Jules Luamadella, and she's pro skill
16U.
Yeah, but it was she's always been playing up. But she played with her 16U and she had a lot of responsibility and carried the load. And so it's cool to see her to be in that situation where she had to score. And then a young one, Kansas United 25 Brooke Walker. Just a fun kid to watch, and it's going to be fun to watch her come up, and Galen, they'll do a good job with their guard development. So a lot of players. We could sit here and go
no doubt forever
for a long, long time. But I know we put out an article, so highlighted a bunch of players there, names. A bunch of more players are going to go into the report. So college coaches be watching out for that report coming soon. And so we can't say enough. Big shout out to all the teams and parents and players, people who just put it together. Right. And made it work. We want to be there. It's a great environment. Shout out to all the evaluators and media that came. A lot of great conversations during the weekend, with just basketball people who've been in it for a long time and just talking the game. And shout out to our staff and Kathy and Shell and Convena and everybody that helps run the event from our table workers. And so obviously couldn't do it without them. And so just another great event that we're able to be honored to be able to have. And so, but before we leave, we got to give a shout out. We got a couple other cool things coming up at the end of September. And so we need to go ahead and give them a shout out. So Jay, tell us what's coming up.
Yeah. So at the end of September, help me with those dates, Shane. That is September
25th, 26th.
25th, 26th, the Project and Prevent camp. That is your 25s, 26, 27s. Registration is open. We're splashing it all over media. I'm hitting club directors and some parents with text and emails. So we'd love to have anybody that wants to come get better. We're gonna compete a little bit. We're going to talk recruiting a little bit along both the player and parent front. And we're going to have a lot of fun. And then that's going to lead into a 3-on-3 tournament later that same Saturday, Sunday, and the same both in Mansfield here in Texas. And that 3-on-3 event, I'm really excited about it. Hopefully you guys have been watching the FIBA 3-on-3. Really fun to watch. I've actually watched both the boys and girls side. Multiple, not just the United States, because it's not a hour-long game, right? You can get them in 15, 20 minutes, which is pretty cool. And it's really fun style to watch. It's, as Shane says, it makes you want to play. Everybody of all ages and levels, just because it feels like a really inclusive style of basketball. And it's something we, is a huge initiative. I know of Shane, but of all of us, to really push and start playing moving forward. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then we also have our unsigned 22 under the radar camp.
It's not just 22, like 22
and 23s. Yeah, 22s, 23s, 24s, but high school age. Same time in Mansfield as well. And just getting eyes on you. We're inviting non-D1 coaches to come out and watch. And so trying to get eyes on folks. So we would love to have you. That's something you'll be hearing from us more about, and you'll be seeing us push as well.
So a lot of that's a busy weekend, needless to say.
Yeah.
The Wooten Coaches Clinic is that weekend too. So like coaches can come through, players can come through. It's going to be a real basketball weekend that weekend. And we've got, a lot of Division I coaches, head coaches lined up to speak at that as well. And it'll just be down the street. So a lot of opportunity there.
Ton of opportunity. So bring your kids to camp, go learn with some of the best coaches in the country, come back, pick up your kids, all kinds of stuff. So that's going to be another great weekend of basketball there. And that's September 25th and 26th. And you can go to premierbasketballtournaments.com for more information on the camps and the 3-on-3 that are there. And so 3-on-3 is exciting. I'm excited about it. And I love 3-on-3. So it'll be a good weekend. So, hey, be there with us. Don't miss out on that opportunity, whatever class you're in, and make sure and take advantage of it. So, but we appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate once again, everybody with the Prime event, and for Shane Laflin, Jason Key, we're coming to you from the baseline.